Good evening. I am so excited about our afternoon or evening together. I want to welcome you to Council in your neighborhood. And tonight, we're going to talk about the future of your business, how to successfully navigate your business after COVID. You know, it's been almost a year and a half. We have been stuck in our homes, and now it's time for us to get back to business. And I'm excited to introduce tonight our guest. And I hope that you sit back, make sure you have a pen and pencil, and a tablet as well, so that you can get these notes and be prepared to move your business forward or share with a friend or a family member in business so that we can progress as a community. On our agenda tonight, we have four magnificent people who happen to be friends of mine as well. And I want to introduce each one of them to you, and they'll wave and say hello, but we'll come back and allow each one of them to tell their own story, what's going on in their own agencies, why is it beneficial to be a part of their organization, and what do they see that has happened post our COVID crisis. So we will be talking about a lot of things and include that also, including grants and loans, and if there's any other assistance available to businesses in this community. This is going to be a fun evening, but it's going to be full of knowledge. So make sure you write this down. Get your pad and pencil. I'm giving you time so that we are ready to go forth. Well, one of our speakers this evening, and our first speaker, her name is Joanne Massey, and she is the Director of Office and Business Diversity and Compliance. Joanne, wave at them, let them know that you're here. We're glad to have you. Thank you. Our speaker following Ms. Massey is Ernest Strickland. He is the president and CEO of the Black Business Association. Good evening, Ernest.
Good evening.
And our third speaker for the evening, I don't know if he has joined us. He was running a little behind, but it's Bobby White. He is the Chief Public Officer of the Greater Memphis Chamber. And I don't see him here yet, but he will be joining us. And our fourth speaker for the evening. And, you know, sometimes we say the best for last, but all of our speakers are dynamic on today. Joanne Booker, President and CEO of the Mid-South Minority Business Council Continuum. Hey, Joselle. Well, as we start today, let me give you a few little ground rules. We're going to have a question and answer period after all four speakers have made a presentation. You should have an opportunity in the chat to write in your questions so that I can ask our panelists at the end. They will all be on at the end of the presentation so that you can see them and they can respond to your questions. Let's have a great evening together. Let's sit back, relax, but also take some notes so that we can move Memphis forward, especially in District 3. And thank you for joining us this afternoon. So our first speaker is with the city of Memphis, Joanne Massey.
Right. Thank you so much, Councilwoman. And thank you and your colleagues for your continued support of the Office of Business Diversity and Compliance. We are somewhat in our infancy. As you all may know, the mayor created the Office of Business Diversity and Compliance when he took office in 2016. Since then, we have made many great strides in supporting small minority and women businesses in our community. We have almost doubled the city contract spending from actually 12.67% when the mayor took office in 2016 to the last report that we made to council, we're at about 23.18%. Now, In dollars, that's well over $50 million in contracting that has went to minority and women-owned businesses in our community. So as Councilwoman said, our office stands as the front door for doing business with the city, as well as supporting quasi-governmental agencies and working with organizations in the private sector. Our office does the contract compliance for the city. We offer certification at no charge. Our certification is accepted by all the quasi-governmental agencies like MATA, Downtown Memphis Commission, EDGE, Shelby County Government, and the Memphis Airport Authority. We have reciprocal certification acceptance with. We also, and very importantly, we provide technical assistance and support to businesses to help them to grow. So through our Entrepreneurs Network Center that is located at 480 Dr. MLK, which is the corner of Danny Thomas and MLK Boulevard, we have 11,000 square feet of premier technology, meeting rooms, conference rooms, computers. We also partner with our Black Business Association. So you'll hear from my colleague, Ernest Strickland, who their office is housed there, the Memphis Area Minority Contractors Association. We have the arm for TSBDC, their Southwest location, and they work with SBA, offering their resources. They're also located there. We have Operation Hope, the Blight Authority of Memphis, and the ULI, which is the Urban Land Institute organization offices, all there. So when you talk about one-stop shop, businesses can come to the Entrepreneurs Network Center and get information and access to resources. And of course, we partner with many others. MMBC is also in this meeting. We partner with them, Starco, Epicenter, and many other organizations. It's very important for the audience to know that when we look at programming, our programming is really meant to remedy the disparities that have been identified. Unlike a private organization, government does have some restrictions on what we can and cannot do. And so when we look at the historical disparities that have been identified through the data that the city has collected, we try to be as prescriptive as possible because we want to be good fiduciaries of the taxpayers' money. And I know that Councilwoman Robinson, that her and her colleagues do the same. So we have some programming that is meant to assist businesses with scaling and with growing their business, not just to do city contracting, but to be more competitive in the private sector. We have a program called Propel, which is geared towards supporting minority businesses in becoming from sub to prime. And so we identified that there is a subcontracting program that we have, and there are many businesses that are doing subcontracting work. But the reality is that if businesses can do subcontracting work, then they can do more prime work too. And so we offer support with everything from bidding to proposals, blueprint reading through our partners with MAMCA, and many other resources. In addition to that, we have a microloan fund program. The microloan fund program has two components. During the pandemic, we created what we call the economic hardship emergency loan, which is a loan to up to $5,000. We have continued that program after we're still in the pandemic, but we've continued that program and it still does exist. We also have the resiliency loan fund, and we can loan up to $30,000 in that program. Any of those applications can be accessed or more information through our website at memphisobdc.org. Or you can call our Entrepreneurs Network Center at 901-636-9300. I mentioned about the certification. Again, the certification is offered free of charge because you as taxpayers, you've already paid. City Council very generously allocated funding for us to create this program in 2018. So prior to that, and you'll hear about our Universal Certification Agency, prior to that, we really only had just a few agencies that offered certification. Since then, we've been able to expand that again in government through the city. The Airport Authority, Shelby County, all offer certification as government agencies. And we actually have an agreement with the Economic Development Growth Engine and the Downtown Memphis Commission, where our certifications are accepted for their major projects. So if you're interested in doing business with a quasi-governmental agency and or with the private sector, you can utilize our certification. Our certificates are accepted. I mentioned about programming, and I mentioned Propel. I also want to briefly talk, and I'm going to mind my time here, but I want to talk about the 800 initiative. In 2018, looking at the data and partnering with FedEx and Starco, the city of Memphis decided that we would invest in a program that would help our businesses who have really not had the opportunity to scale. The census showed us that less than 800 businesses had more than 5 employees. And so we wanted to invest in programming that would allow us to really do kind of a wraparound or triage servicing to these businesses to help them to grow, not just grow in revenue, but grow in their workforce. And again, continue to help them be more competitive. Since then, and I'm really proud to say, several of the businesses that have participated in the 800 initiative, and if you know how they say you're going to name drop, I'll name drop with Pfeiffer and Associates, All World. I think you all heard recently that they became the project manager for the walk. Many other companies like them who participated in our 800 initiative have really grown their businesses in the last few years. So again, if you're interested in the 800 initiative, you can access our website or give our office a call. Lastly, when I talk about the Entrepreneurs Network Center and the location, which we are open from 8:30 to 5 daily, you can walk right in. If you want to make a meeting or, have a meeting or a consultation with one of our navigators or one of our partners, you can just call and make an appointment. If you don't have an appointment, if you walk in, it'll be on a first come, first served basis. So if someone is available to talk to you, they'll do so right on the spot. The last thing I want to mention, annually, we have what we call the We Mean Business Symposium. And We Mean Business is really the mantra that when the mayor created our office, we picked up. But this symposium has been nationally recognized by many different agencies and other cities who have actually replicated similar programming for their community. The symposium will occur on June 23rd and 24th. On the 23rd, you will hear from decision makers about millions of dollars in projects that are available. So whether you are in professional services, architecture, engineering, or providing any goods and services, this is the place that you want to be to hear about these projects. It's going to be virtual, so you can access or you can view on our Facebook and our YouTube, and we'll share that information with Councilwoman so that she can make sure that she gets that out through the portal, or you can access our website to find out more. But on the 23rd, you will hear about those millions of dollars in projects. You will also hear from Carmen West, with the Minority Business Development Agency. She's our special guest, as well as FedEx representatives, Mayor Strickland. And we even have special guests like Coach Penny Hardaway that will participate. And lastly, Councilwoman, on June 24th, we'll have the virtual FedEx We Mean Business Luncheon, where we'll have entertainment and you'll hear from experts. So I hope that your viewers will participate on June 23rd and 24th. And I really hope that they will give our office a call and allow my team and I to support them, because we always said we truly mean business and we want to do business with you. Thank you, Councilwoman, for the time.
Thank you, Joanne. I appreciate you gave us a lot of information and a lot of acronyms. So if you are listening now, make sure that you put in the chat if you want to know what all those alphabet soup was, that you will be able to share that with you near the end. But I also want to say I appreciate her work. I appreciate what she has been doing over the years that I've had an opportunity to work with her. And I need you to keep her busy. So make sure you write down, say your number one more time.
901-636-6210 or 901-636-9300.
And how do they reach you by email?
They can reach us by email at bdcinfo@memphistn, all one word, .gov.
Okay, thank you so much. Don't leave, because we have questions at the end. Our next speaker is Mr. Ernest Strickland. Remember, I told you he's the president and CEO of the Black Business Association. Welcome, Ernest.
Thank you, Councilwoman Robinson. I appreciate you having me here. Thank you and the council for your continual support of the Black Business Association. In fact, you were one of the first council members that took a meeting with me in this new role, so I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
So again, I'm Ernest Strickland, President and CEO of the Black Business Association of Memphis. The Black Business Association of Memphis is a 47-year-old business organization. We are located, as Joanne Massey mentioned, inside of the Entrepreneur Network Center at 480 Dr. Martin Luther King Avenue. That's inside of the Universal Life building. Our mission is to improve the economic well-being of Memphis by developing successful entrepreneurs and minority business owners through education, advocacy, and business development. We're a proud member of the U.S. Black Chamber of Commerce, which means that we have a far-reaching network of business organizations all over the country. So some of the resources that you can expect from the Black Business Association include access to capital. Just recently, we were a steward of some of the COVID-19 dollars that the city of Memphis allocated. They asked the BBA to be the administrator of getting those dollars into the hands of professional care companies and entrepreneurs. We successfully issued grants to barbers, beauticians, nail techs, you name it, as a way to make sure that those who were impacted with, by not being able to have foot traffic could have some access, could have access to capital. We also are a organization that actively looks to see where there are grant opportunities that we can bring back to Black companies here in Memphis. Just recently, the Heinz company, the ketchup company, they had a grant opportunity for Black restaurants. They were issuing $20,000 grants. So we quickly went through our membership database, contacting Black restaurant owners. In fact, in District 3, one of the restaurants who received funding was Old Taste and See, Miss Barbara Jackson. If you haven't had, good sweet potato and good chicken salad, you should go and visit Barbara Jackson at Old Taste and See on Brooks Road. And so providing access to capital is something that's near and dear to our work. We also work very closely with the other partners within the Entrepreneur Network Center. As Joanne mentioned, the SBA, the Tennessee Small Business Development Center. We serve as a referral partner to those organizations so that when you come to the Entrepreneur Network Center, it can truly be a one-stop shop. So the Black Business Association has traditionally worked in those areas, as I said, providing access to capital, advocacy, counseling. You can come to our office and receive one-on-one consultation with myself or a team member, and we can meet you where you are, whether you are in a position where you're trying to figure out, should I stay a sole proprietor or should I take on a more advanced business structure like an LLC or an S corporation. You can come have a conversation with us and we can help you figure that out. We can also work with you to make sure that you are in the best possible position to gain contracts by making sure that you have the proper certifications. So a host of business type of skills, you can be confident in having those conversations with us and have us direct you in a number of different directions. So the new strategic vision of the Black Business Association, when I came into the job, I told the board that my focus and what I'm passionate about is creating wealth in the Black community. 53 years ago, when Dr. King was assassinated, there was a desire and an expectation for there to be a rebirth in Memphis. We've had starts and stops, we've had some progress, but not to the level that was expected or desired. So at the BBA, we've created a new strategic vision to make sure that we have that rebirth, to make sure that Memphis not only is on the cusp of greatness, but can go beyond the cusp to obtaining the greatness that we all want to see. Our new strategic vision is called Memphis Restart, and it's a multifaceted economic development effort focused on 3 areas of focus: talent acquisitions and talent acquisitions. When we say talent, companies are products and services, but at the heart, they're people. We've created a new program called Next Level Leadership Training. With Next Level Leadership Training, we work with new managers. We work with business owners, small business owners, entrepreneurs, to give them that business acumen skill set that they need to be successful in their jobs or in their companies. So that's Next Level Leadership Training. Acquisitions. Startups have long dominated the conversation, but startups are hard. Startups have a high failure rate. So we want to bring a new tool to the toolkit for Black entrepreneurs and Black business owners. And that tool is the tool of acquisitions, acquiring companies. We have created a new program called Succession Solutions, where we're targeting baby boomer owned companies. In the US, 95% of manufacturing companies are owned by older baby boomers, in large part, older male white individuals own these companies. Well, when these owners decide to retire, if they don't have a succession plan in place, that leaves the community at risk of job loss, investment loss, the tax base will be lost, and just a sort of issues that we do not want to see in Memphis. And so through Succession Solutions, we're targeting these aging owners, these baby boomers, having conversations with them, evaluating their businesses, and matching them with Black entrepreneurs and business owners that can acquire those companies. So essentially, we've created an exit strategy for the owner, and we've created a wealth building opportunity for the Black business owner and or entrepreneur, which is how we can narrow the wealth gap at a much more accelerated rate. Last but not least, talent acquisitions, the third focus. And that is, as we build out Next Level Leadership Training, we'll have a robust list of candidates that could very well be good hiring candidates for some of these companies, Fortune 500 companies that are in Memphis, that want to have a more diverse pool of candidates to select from. So we're creating a portal that we call Diverse Central, where we'll be able to match businesses looking to hire with diverse candidates. We'll also work with Lemoyne College and the career services of University of Memphis, Christian Brothers, to make sure that we're populating this portal with robust candidates that are skilled, eager, and ready to work. And so, again, talent acquisitions are the focus of Memphis Restart. And that is our strategic plan to make sure that we can, along with the conversations regarding poverty eradications, we have to have conversations about wealth creation in the Black community. Those are some of the activities you can expect from the Black Business Association. And I look forward to providing you with any information that you would like as a follow-up.
Thank you, Ernest. I heard something really loud and clear. I know you weren't trying to talk about baby boomers, were you? I'm a baby boomer, and be careful what you say.
So with baby boomers, we know that many baby boomers are looking to retire. And those that have companies, we don't want you to just retire and close up shop. We want to create an exit strategy for those baby boomers.
Thank you for cleaning that up. We appreciate you talking to us today about talent acquisition. Don't go anywhere, because people will have questions, especially about Memphis Restart. And we appreciate your work that you're doing right here in the city of Memphis so that we can change what's happening in poverty. We want to eradicate it, and you're going to be a part of that change. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our third speaker is here. He had a little technology problem, and we normally do that when we have all these online calls, but we appreciate him taking the time out of his busy schedule to share with us what's going on at the Greater Memphis Chamber, as he is the Chief Public Policy Officer, and his name is Bobby White. Bobby, welcome to Council in Your Neighborhood.
Well, thank you very much, Councilwoman Robinson. It's always a pleasure to be with you, and whether it's virtual or in person, it's always a pleasure. I'm very much happy to be here with you all on tonight, representing the Greater Memphis Chamber, where our president is Beverly Robertson. That name is familiar to us in that she served as the president and CEO of the National Civil Rights Museum for a number of years. I think the other part about that is special to us is that she brings to the leadership role at the Greater Memphis Chamber, having been in a civil rights position, leadership there. She is the first female and also the first African-American to serve in the role of president and CEO for the Greater Memphis Chamber. So I'm extremely fortunate to serve and work with Beverly there. And the other part I think that's worth mentioning and noting is that she is also the owner of a small business. Her and her husband, Howard Robertson, have for many years worked there at Trust Marketing. And so we're very grateful for her leadership. We're in a great position there at the Chamber, and we're very definitely and happy to be a part of the work that is ongoing there. I would like to mention just a few things that are happening with us there at the Greater Memphis Chamber as it relates to the work that we are advancing. During this pandemic, we, like so many other folks, have understood the need for us to be nimble as businesses have had to pivot and have had to understand that offering new ways of doing business as they pivot and are innovative in solutions and do things like at one point they were offering doing craft lotions and soap, and understood that that could pivot toward actually doing hand sanitizers and things that could be helpful while we are dealt with this pandemic and still not over it, but dealing with the pandemic during its height a year ago. Hard to believe it's been over a year since we went home and didn't come back, many of us, to the workplace. But as organizations have had to pivot, we as a chamber have had to pivot, in that we've tried to do our very best to provide the type of support that our members and businesses in general have needed, that is required, that has included thought partnership about what those changes and strategies could be, that has included collecting or connecting some of our smaller members and local businesses to other members that are thriving and doing well. one of the things we have seen quite clearly is that in the same way that most things happen, in the same way that many companies were struggling and closing their doors, there were others who were thriving and having banner years. So we have been in the space of being nimble and adjusting to the diverse and diversified needs of our members and of local businesses. But I do want to mention some of the work that we have advanced during this pandemic. The pandemic has been clouded by civil unrest as well. In addition to what we have seen in health and safety, we've also seen civil unrest at a level not seen in many decades, with the killing of George Floyd and other events that have happened over the year that have created a fever pitch of activism and really fervor on critical issues. I wanted to mention that because in that space, we've used that as an opportunity to do what we could to promote and bring to the attention of our key business leaders the struggle and the challenges that many of our small businesses, minority-owned, women-owned businesses have faced, and use that as a pivot point toward our advocating for them at another level. We launched while other cities were burning and having these very tense conversations, we launched Protest to Progress, where we convened business leaders, faith-based leaders, and activists into rooms where we talked things out a year ago and came up with strategies that we have advanced and action items underneath those. I mention those because, again, this just kind of demonstrates a creative and innovative and thoughtful leadership of the chamber, of our president, and quite frankly, of our board of directors and others who have supported this cause. In that space, I'll mention the other things, but then I'll kind of speak to a couple of things that Ernest, my former colleague who's now leading there, the Black Business Association, we push for African-American representation on corporate and community boards. We push for living wage. One of the critical things that we've heard, the activism and the protests of the last year brought to people's attention, a lot of social issues and things that have not been right and things that they wanted to push forward on. And we at the chamber have been sensitive to that and use that again as an opportunity to bring those issues right in the face of many of our key business leaders. Living wage, and I don't know if anyone has noticed the way wages have gone up as we've seen the struggle for workforce needs all over the place, and wages have gone up, but pushing for living wage, pushing for wealth equity and reinvestment strategies, and also equitable MWBE contracting in our partnership and working with a number of our members who are well versed in those areas. And I'm proud to report that with the report that we shared the other day, we are well on our way with having introduced a number of strategies that are moving us along, and we've attached metrics and measurements that will allow us to get to a better place. Some of the straightforward pieces are, African-American representation on board being one of them, and some of the more complicated pieces like wealth equity and reinvestment strategies, where we're using CRA money and meeting with banks so we can learn more in those spaces. And what we've heard from our activists and those who are involved in the process is that they've been quite thrilled by the work that has been done and excited about the outcomes that we are all fighting for together. But I wanted to just mention that what we have done at the Greater Memphis Chamber is that as much as people talk about our members who are, make no mistake about it, they are international brands like FedEx, like International Paper, like AutoZone, that are known not just in this region, but around the world, who are members of our chamber. But our chamber is 80+% made up of small businesses. And when we talk small businesses, the definition by the SBA of small business is, 500 members and below. But I would just say that it's not just small businesses, but in many cases, micro businesses, when we're talking about people who have 10 employees or below, or 50 or 20 employees or below. The lion's share of our membership is made up of small businesses. So we found ourselves in a space of doing what we could to advocate for small businesses during not only a pandemic, but using the opportunity caused by civil unrest to bring attention to disparities that have existed and what we can do in those spaces to move things along. We're happy to share those results, and we're happy to share the work that we are advancing. And we look forward to engagement with our elected officials like the council, who we're privileged to be able to share this plan with, and other partners who are yoked in support and partnership with us as we kind of move Memphis forward to actualize and tap into the potential we know we always have had as a community. Last thing I'll say is this: Ernest is right. At the end of the day, a community that is our size, we know we have some stringent and very persistent things that we have to face, poverty being one of them. But we do understand that as we strengthen and as we undergird African American businesses, if they're able to grow, they are a pivotal piece of what the future can be as we move in a positive direction. And we look forward to being a part of that conversation and look forward to continuing to support. With that said, Councilwoman, we thank you so much for being able to be included today.
Thank you, Bobby. And I appreciate you participating today and representing the chamber. And let me tell you why. The chamber has stood up for not just the large businesses here in our city, but for those small businesses that are like the people that are listening today. And we appreciate you. Equity is on our minds every day. And I know that you address it because you talk to me about it all the time. And what does equity look like? It looks like giving someone a hand up where they need it. And we all don't stand in the same place. So you do know that Councilwoman Robinson is vertically challenged. So if I go to a fence and try to peep over a 6-foot fence, I need a stool.
That's right.
So that's making the playing field equitable for me. I just wanted the audience, people who are listening today, to know that equity doesn't actually mean equal. It means that we give you the help where you are. I appreciate you, Bobby. Don't go anywhere because we're going to have questions at the end. And our last presenter this afternoon is Joselle Booker. Remember, I told you she's the president and CEO of the Mid-South Minority Business Council Continuum. Joselle.
Good evening. Thank you, Councilwoman Robinson. I am so happy to be here tonight participating with this group of speakers and other members of the economic development ecosystem here in Memphis. Also, you know, I have been with the MMBC Continuum now 4 years. I grew up at Memphis Light, Gas, and Water, worked there for 31 years, spent the majority of my time there in economic development, supplier diversity, and public procurement. And while there, I had the ability to work to grow minority and women-owned spending with businesses doing business with MLGW. But now I have the opportunity to share what I've learned there, the connections that I've made, the successes that we had there at MLGW, and now have an opportunity to assist minority and women businesses in this community to the same level of inclusion, success with major corporations and entities across the community. At the MMBC, we are focused on advocacy first and foremost. Our organization has been in effect as a standalone organization for over 30 years. So for over 30 years, the MMBC Continuum has been working with corporations and governments advocating on behalf of minority and women-owned businesses. And it's because of that, we are so happy today that there are so many other entities and organizations in this community that have joined us in this work. And through the work that they are helping to shine the light on the advocacy efforts and the initiatives that we have brought forth over the last 30 years. So your topic for tonight, the future of your business, how to successfully navigate your business after COVID. Well, I think first and foremost, everyone that is listening and participating in this event tonight, you have permission to take a deep breath and to exhale. We have all been through a lot over this past year, personally and professionally. Many individuals and businesses have faced sizable impacts across their business organizations. The fact that we're here, we're survivors. Every industry in this country has been impacted, good or bad. Thousands of businesses. There are statistics that show that over 22% of U.S. businesses have shuttered their doors, and 27% of minority businesses, majority Black-owned businesses, have also shuttered their doors, and that's from a Fortune article. Most businesses over the past year have been in survival mode, trying to stay afloat, trying to keep their employees, hold on to them as long as they can, trying to hold on to their businesses, maintain their households and their livelihoods. And for others, the COVID pandemic fueled a sense of resiliency in those businesses. Many were innovative. They came up with new strategies. They entered into new markets. They entered into new product lines, and they were able to strive and survive even in the midst of this pandemic. So I was very happy when I saw the topic that you wanted us to discuss tonight on how to successfully navigate your business. The work that we do at MMBC is backed by facts and data. We spend a lot of time looking at what's going on around the country, looking for best practices, and those types of stories and strategies that we can share with not only our members, but other minority and women-owned businesses that may not be members of our organization. Because as I said before, first and foremost, we are an advocacy organization. McKinsey & Company presented a white paper earlier this year on the impact that COVID will have on so many businesses. And they offered a couple of strategies and solutions that businesses should undertake as they are navigating this pandemic. One of those things focused on technology innovation. It is very important that businesses today, regardless of the industry that you're in, understand technology. Not only understand technology, but to identify the type of technological tools that are most beneficial to you in your business, not only in how you operate, the customers that you serve, the employees that you have, and to make sure that those systems are safe from intrusion. As you've all heard, there have been a couple of cyber attacks on major entities in the last couple of weeks. So small businesses are very vulnerable and really need to make sure that their business infrastructure is safe and is secure to protect not only their business, their data, and their systems, but also the financial records of their companies. Another study that we had a lot of conversations with corporate representatives was a study from Deloitte. And that study talked about reimagining procurement. So how do you successfully navigate your business after COVID? If you are a business that does business with other corporations, it is very important that you understand what those corporations are going through and the types of securities and systems that they are putting in place in order to operate their business. Because those systems, your inability to operate and to participate with those companies unaware of those systems is going to impact you and your ability to be successful with those businesses. So it is very important that you understand the kinds of things that they will do as they reimagine procurement. A lot of companies are not returning full force to the office. Once the pandemic clears, there will be a lot of companies that will continue to operate and work in a remote environment. So are you able as a business owner to be able to interact with businesses in a remote environment? Do you have the right infrastructure? Do you have the right systems? Do you have the right hardware to be able to do that? So as corporations reimagine procurement, it's best to better understand what that means for that business that you're interested in approaching or existing customers that you're already serving. Reimagining procurement is going to be a major impact not only on the supply chain, but also it's going to impact how organizations budget, how they manage projects. They are reimagining how they operate. At the start of the pandemic, the MMBC Continuum launched an initiative, Relief, Recovery, and Stabilization. That became the umbrella to all of the programs, services, offerings, and how we operate day to day. We launched Relief, Recovery, and Stabilization in March of 2020. We projected at that time that the country would probably be in a 36-month period dealing with COVID. And so we launched it, and it has 3 phases. The relief phase was a phase that allowed us to provide grants to business owners to help them to provide some relief as they were entering into this pandemic and the unknown of what was going to potentially happen to their businesses. The relief phase lasted for us until September. And so from September of 2020 until March of 2022, our focus as an organization is going to be on helping businesses recover. We will be in the recovery phase of our Relief, Recovery, and Stabilization Initiative until March of 2022. The other thing that we had the opportunity to do through our MBDA Business Center was to receive CARES Act funding. That funding allowed us to educate, train, and advise business owners on impacts that their businesses were facing as a result of the pandemic. That grant period ended last month. And during that period, we had the pleasure of working with nearly 800 minority and small businesses through our technical assistance and developmental pool side of our organization. That is a part of our business and how we deliver technical services and training to companies in this community. That is a non-member organization. We're able to serve the entire community. And under that CARES Act grant, for the first time in the history of the MBDA Business Center, we were allowed to serve non-minority small businesses. So we serve businesses owned by individuals of all ethnicities and all backgrounds. And I'll just pause a minute and say the MBDA is an acronym for Minority Business Development Agency. It is an agency department under the U.S. Department of Commerce, created for the sole purpose of aiding and assisting ethnic minority businesses in their growth and development across this country. So it was monumental, and it was historic for business centers across the country to be able to serve non-minority businesses under that grant funding. And as I said, we were able to serve over 800 businesses in the course of 1 year who needed assistance as a result of COVID, the COVID pandemic. And some of the things that we were able to provide to them was assistance and applications for federal funds that were related to capital and business resiliency, the hazards and prevention of the transmission and the communication of COVID-19 and other communicable diseases, the potential effects of COVID-19 on supply chains disruption, and the sale of products of minority business enterprises and the mitigation of those effects. We also provided training and education on the management and practice of telework to reduce the possible transmission of COVID-19 and the management and practice of remote customer service by electronic and other means. The identification and mitigation of risk of cyber threats in remote customer service and telework, as we've all seen lately, that is very, very important in today's market. Mitigation of the effects of reduced travel or outside activities on minority businesses as a result of the pandemic. And also, as a part of this particular area, we presented a webinar, which all of our webinars that we produce are available on demand. But one of the things that we realized was the mental health impact that COVID was having, not only on individuals, but on families, and especially those employees of businesses that were working remotely and at the same time facilitating remote learning for their children. So that was a huge, we had a huge outcry of people who participated in that event. And then other business related practices that businesses should put in effect so that after COVID, this pandemic is over, but to position and prepare those businesses so that they are able to be successful and be able to survive beyond the next disruption, whether it's a pandemic or some other type of economic disruption, because as you know, another could potentially come and most likely will. So the whole focus of the work that we've done past year is leading us to your topic tonight, how to help these businesses navigate beyond COVID. And that is providing them with the tools and the resources that they need to be successful beyond COVID. Because no one knew that this would happen. None of us knew that we could, at the snap of a finger, become a remote work community, economy, and workforce. But what we also realized is while we were not ready for that, a lot of businesses did not have the business infrastructure and systems to be able to effectively continue to operate and to be successful. And that is a part of the work that we've done over the last year in this space. Some of the most popular impacts that we were able to observe over the past year that businesses shared with us and we learned through surveys was employee retention, loss of employees due to the pandemic, and the largest single threat to minority and small businesses, loss of contracts due to COVID. What we found early on was that those contractors and businesses, especially those that were members of MMBC, that were less affected by COVID initially were those companies that had long-term, multi-year contracts. Those were the businesses that were able to survive. And so the lesson for any governmental entity, quasi-governmental entity, corporation that really wants to help minority and small businesses in this community is to please change from transactional procurement, small dollar purchase procurement, to long-term multi-year contracts, because that's transformational. That is what allowed so many minority businesses that were able to survive the ability to remain in business and continue to engage because they had long-term contracts that had to be serviced. So what must MBEs do and small businesses? What should you do? How should you navigate in this current environment beyond COVID? Well, one of the things that we think you should do first is do a 360 assessment. Look at your business's vulnerabilities and gaps and determine whether or not shifts should be made in how you operate, the customers you have, the competencies of your business, and how you want to move forward. Identify what you need to do in order to rebuild, to fortify, and strengthen your business, whether it's in your financial systems, whether it's in your IT infrastructure, whether it's in your HR systems and your policies and how you do business. Then identify and establish key priorities and resources. So many businesses took advantage of the PPP loans. Focus on forgiveness of those PPP loans. Look for resources within the community that can assist you to ensure that you're able to gain as much forgiveness as you can on those loans, and also ensuring that you comply with what is required in order for you to be able to have those loans forgiven. Also, diversify your product offerings, your services, whether the markets that you're in, if you need to expand beyond Memphis, what do you need to do? And then last but not least, invest in your business as best you can. So that's rebuilding your operating capital, those things that you've saved for lean time. So many businesses that came to us during the pandemic wanted to not acquire new debt. So a lot of the technical financial assistance that we provided was helping them to find cash in their business, to really understand their balance sheets, their income statements, and really understand their financial position, to see what they could do so that they did not have to bring on more debt. Also look at, as I said, in order to be lean, to grow, to be able to reimagine and to be re-engaged with corporations, look at your organization's technology footprint. Look at what you have. Figure out how you can look at those resources to see what you can do to strengthen your business. Get your finances in order. Meet with your banker, financial planner, your CPA, to see how they can help you and what you need to do based on your individual goals for your business. And then growth strategies. MMBC Continuum is the organization that grows minority businesses to scale and to help them to be able to expand their business, grow, and create jobs, because that was one of the fundamental founding principles of the organization. And the reason it exists is to grow minority businesses to scale. And as those businesses grow, they will hire more employees, because we know that minority-owned businesses disproportionately hire more African Americans than non-minority businesses. So growth strategies is something that we focus on for businesses. In April, we hosted a 3-part joint venture series that also looked at other growth strategies, including teaming agreements and strategic alliances. And we didn't stop there. To my friend Ernest Strickland over at the Black Business Association, when you look at facts and data to make decisions about the directions that you should go, the strategies that you should implement to your constituents, I see that the minds at the MMBC and at the BBA think alike, because next week, the MMBC's Technical Assistance and Training and Developmental Pool organization is presenting a webinar, Mergers and Acquisitions, a Strategy for Growth. Because one of the things that we do know is that during times like these, and Ernest said it best, when businesses or people are looking to exit businesses. And so mergers and acquisitions is a great way for businesses to grow. You can acquire a business and you're automatically in a new market, a new industry. There are a number of high net worth African Americans in this community that are looking to buy businesses, to expand, to get into business, as well as others that may not even be in business. So we are presenting this webinar. It is going to be held next Wednesday. It's on the 17th. This webinar is open to anyone in the Memphis community. If you've not seen it already, it is being marketed on social media. It is open to any business, any individual in this community. It is not an MMBC function. As I said, our Technical Assistance and Developmental Pool is a non-member entity, and it is there to grow businesses. And the other thing that is really interesting, when I heard my friend Joanne Massey talk about her event that she's having, and she mentioned Carmen West at MBDA. Carmen West is one of the presenters at our event next week, Mergers and Acquisitions. Carmen West is the only merger and acquisitions licensed individual at MBDA. We'll also have a broker who brokers merger and acquisitions deals out of New York. That'll be a part of our team, a part of that panel discussion. We'll have a local SBA banker that's going to talk about it from the banking perspective. We'll have a local entrepreneur who has purchased a number of businesses, and we'll talk about it from the practical standpoint. And then we'll have a local attorney that'll serve as a moderator who specializes in mergers and acquisitions. So it's amazing when you think about what's happening in the community, and so many people are working in the same vein. So again, Councilwoman, thank you so much for this opportunity tonight to share with businesses on the things that they can do to navigate their businesses after COVID.
Thank you, Josiel, and I appreciate you participating on this evening as well. What's so great about our conversation tonight, we need to continue this because each and every one of our speakers have programs that can help you in your business. So I want to make sure that each of our speakers, make sure that you go to the comments section and put in your contact information. We have everyone that's listening said, how do I contact them? And we have an opportunity tonight, because now it's time for questions and answers, that you can put your questions in the comments section as well. But first, I want to ask Joanne, will you please tell us why businesses should register with the City of Memphis?
Thank you, Councilwoman. I think that is an absolutely great question. The importance of registration is really twofold. One, the city is, as my friend Joselle Booker said with MMBC, like MMBC, like BBA and others, we're data focused. And so the goals that we apply to projects, and you will sometimes see a goal up to 50%, those goals are prescriptive. And we utilize the certified directory that we have to basically determine that businesses are available and willing to do business with the city. And so we identify prior to bidding out the projects, businesses that might be willing to participate. And the only and best way to do that is by having a business certified and registered with the city. And of course, like I said, we accept other certifications from reciprocal organizations like MMBC, Shelby County, and so forth. And then, of course, we have free certification and registration in our office. The second and important reason also, Councilwoman, is because all the questions that are coming here, how to contact us, how to participate in our symposium, how to hear about the opportunities, we send out newsletters and emails to businesses that are registered on that list. So it will come directly to your email, projects every week that the city bids out. And when we're ready to advertise with the newspapers, our office sends those directly to you. And also our newsletter, special projects like Project Accelerate, which is millions of dollars in projects over the next 3 years that the city will be bidding. So those are the two main reasons, Councilwoman, why it's important to register with our office.
Thank you. So Joselle, why is it important to register with your office?
We are a membership organization, and our organization is focused on the specific growth strategies of businesses. So it's really up to the business. When a business comes to us, the first question we want to know from them is, what is your goals for growth? And so we help them determine their growth strategy to determine which markets they're interested in, which businesses they're interested in. So if you are looking for tailored, structured strategy for how you should grow your business, then the MMBC is the place for you. We are, as I said, an organization focused on scalability. Our organization is not an organization for startups. If you're just starting your business, our organization is also not an organization for B2C. So B2B businesses that are interested in strategies to grow are the businesses that should contact us.
Okay, thank you. So we have a couple of questions in our comment section and chat, and I want to make sure that we get to those and we can share. Make sure that everyone has put their information inside the comment section so they know how to contact you. Our first question comes from Patricia Rogers. She said, what process does the city have in place to make sure a minority subcontractor is treated fairly by a contractor who has a city contract? Joanne?
All right. I guess I'll take that question. So I mentioned early on that the city of Memphis acts as advocates for small businesses. The mayor has positioned this office and given authority to this office for us to be able to not only advocate, but act as mediators with city decision makers. We're all involved with purchasing city divisions on contracts. And so it's really very simple. If you have a complaint or you need assistance, just contact our office. You can send us an email or you can call us. We'll hear your challenge out and we'll determine what the best solution is to address it. Fairness is very, very important. Now, I want to also quickly say, Councilwoman, that when fairness crosses the line to maybe some legal infraction, I am the Title VI coordinator for the city also. So if a business feels like they have been discriminated against in business operations, there is a formal complaint process where they can actually send an email directly to me. We'll do an investigation and again, make the best determination as to how to address that challenge. Usually it gets solved in mediation and it doesn't go much further than that. but I'm here to assist.
Okay, so we had a new person to pop up on our screen this evening, and that's our County Commissioner and Chair, Eddie Jones. He's here if you have any questions about Shelby County, because we don't have any, I think everybody represents the city and county, but he can answer specific questions about the county. So you can put that in the chat as well. Welcome, Commissioner Chairman Jones.
Thank you. You know, I've been sitting in the back screen just waiting and listening to all of your guests.
Mhm.
Wealth of information that they have shared with the community. So for those business owners, and take everything that you've heard and put use to it. Call on them.
Mhm.
If they gave you their information in the chat box, call on them. I have personally worked with each and every one of them. And if they said it, they will do it, or they'll do whatever it takes to make that happen to support, you know, our minority businesses. So kudos to all four of you. And a couple of y'all, I got some calls I got to make to you. But
Okay.
we'll get back to that. And for your listening audience, hey, now is the time to ask those questions. If you are looking for an opportunity to move forward with your business, hey, put your comments in the chat box. And if you have questions for the county side, I will do my very best to answer them.
Okay, we ready. We have plenty of them. Dr. Bobby Brown Hunter, how do we become registered with the city? So Joanne, will you go over that for us?
Sure, very simple. All you have to do is access our website at www.buy901.net. And so that website application is online. All the documents can be uploaded there, and you can call our office for assistance. That's www.buy901.net.
Okay, thank you. We have a question by Clifford Stockton. Does anyone know if the PPP loans are still being issued, and can small ministries apply? Anybody have an answer to that?
Looks like Ernest is talking. That's BBA, our partners.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, I got excited when I saw Clifford Stockton working with his father for so many years. Good man, good family. The PPP application period is over. Currently, they're looking at working with companies that have obtained loans and are looking to get those loans forgiven. And so, to my knowledge, they're not accepting new applications. Instead, they're working with those who have dollars, making sure that they meet those qualifications for forgiveness.
Okay, thank you. Vivian Malone wants to know, what is your contact information? And that's for you, Mr. Strickland. Did you put it in the in our chat or our comment section? Looks like we lost him. So I'll just ask each of the panelists, make sure that you have your contact information included in our comment section. We have a question from Kanisha Martin. Miss Joanne, she would like to know your direct number. Are you willing to give that online?
I did provide an email in the chat. It's bdcinfo@memphistn.gov. I could be reached there.
Okay,
And
thank you.
I'm sorry, I had some technical difficulties, but thanks, Bobby, for providing my email. It's Ernest, ERNEST, @bbamemphis.com. And phone number is 901-636-9318. I'm still fairly new in the role, and so I had to double check.
Okay, so has everyone provided that information? Just raise your hand, just like so we'll know that you got your information out there. Bobby, yours out there? Okay,
It
thank
is.
you. Okay, Commissioner Jones, is it true that a public servant? She's stating, this is from Patricia Rogers, that he's truly a public servant and he lives in his district and it's a very compassionate person. Thank you, Ms. Rogers. Joanne, I see that you have entered your information again. Let me get back to the questions, and this is from Pastor Tyrone Hunt. He says, are any funds available to help the church?
Speak up, Councilwoman. We, with the Office of Business Diversity and Compliance, we focus on assisting for-profit businesses with our microloan fund, but we do provide technical assistance and support to nonprofits. And so we're happy to act as a navigator. I do always encourage organizations to apply early with the council grants and some other grant programs that are meant for nonprofit organizations or community organizations.
Okay, and he would also, somebody else had something else? Yes,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Now, Pastor, there's an opportunity to come to the county commission. We have community enhancement grants. However, you would have to get it through a nonprofit and not directly through the church. And if you have a nonprofit that is not directly connected to the church, then you can petition some of the commissioners for their grant funds to be able to support something of this nature.
Okay, and I think that answers his second question as well. Let me go back to my list of questions. So what are some of the ways your organizations can specifically help businesses in this post-COVID economy? So I want to start with Bobby. Just give me one thing and I'm gonna go to everybody. So just tell me one area that your organization can specifically help a business within this post-COVID economy.
I think one of the things that we have prided ourselves on at the chamber is connecting businesses that oftentimes are struggling to get the type of attention that's needed, and being able to connect them in official and unofficial ways with companies that could make use of their services. It is oftentimes those unofficial ways of connecting one company with another that ends up with very fruitful relationships. So we're always in this space where people have special things and items that they are offering that are importance to businesses. Us being able to get them in contact with supplier diversity teams and contracting teams at businesses where they've been trying to break in. We're always about being helpful in that way.
Okay, thank you. Ernest.
Similarly, I would say counseling. As they say, 1 hour worth of counseling is not just 1 hour. It is essentially, my 15 years condensed in 1 hour that a company can get the benefit of, and not just myself, but also my colleague, Roby Williams. And so counseling is, one-on-one counseling is something that companies can benefit from with the BBA.
Okay, thank you. Joselle?
Any business can contact the MMBC. You can ask for me, you can ask for one of our strategic business advisors, and we are happy to sit down and have a conversation to help assess where they are and to provide some recommendations on things that they could do, other service providers, but really to start the conversation with them and to help them create a roadmap for where they need to go based on the specific goals of that business.
Thank you. Joanne?
All right. Well, I could piggyback from my colleagues and what they've said, but I'll offer the Entrepreneurs Network Center that includes all of our partners like BBA, MAMCA, and others. But also, very importantly, I will have to add this small business resiliency fund that we have. We have over $1 million. Again, those microloan funds are up to $30,000 for businesses. They're HUD funds through CBDG. So I'm all my alphabet soup, Councilwoman. That's what government does. But all you got to do is call us and we can explain it. And again, help walk you through it. Just call the center and ask for a business navigator. So we have technical assistance and funding to assist businesses right now.
So what does resiliency mean?
Resiliency means to keep you going. That's kind of why we use that name. You know, we had the emergency fund, we had the $5 million in CARES Act funds that we were able to get out the door. And thank you, Councilwoman, for giving us even more money to serve the businesses. So we rounded out to almost $6 million that we were able to get out the door in 4 months to over 400 businesses. Really proud of that programming, but we want to keep our businesses going, and that's what the Resiliency Fund is for.
Okay, so what the citizens want to know, and these business owners, do you have money left? They want to know, can they get something now?
So they can get micro loans now. The city, well, I will say the Office of Business Diversity and Compliance does not have any more grant funds. That program ended in December. And so as of today, we do not have authority to give any more grant funds through our office. But we do have microloan funds. And the great thing about getting a microloan from government, our interest rate is at about 4%. We also do, review your credit, and we review your, and I'm not the loan officer here, but we do underwriting, but we are very generous and very lenient with how we review businesses for those loans. So we do have a loan officer. You contact our office, we'll get you in contact with him.
Okay, thank you. So Councilwoman would like the community to know, how do they get assistance starting a new business? We've talked about people who are already in business, what happened during the pandemic, how to get back up and running, where to get assistance. But if I wanted to start a brand new business, which one of you would I go to first?
Well, Joanne has said so much. I'm going to put my little 2 cents in here. And let me say for a moment here, Councilwoman Robinson, that Joselle Booker over there is acting like I'm not her friend. She said everybody else is her friend. She hadn't said that I was her friend, and that's my neighbor. Boy, I tell you about folks. It's good to see you, Commissioner. At least you stop and talk to me in the freeze aisle at the grocery store. I appreciate you. But I will just say this, that I do want to name Epicenter. Epicenter is not on the phone, but they're kind of like the front door as it relates to entrepreneurship. They came out of and emerged out of our chairman circle is our highest level of membership at the chamber. And it was one of their moon missions regarding in that type of investment. And Epicenter came out of the Greater Memphis Chamber through investment made over there. So I just want to name Epicenter as being a really great resource for folks who are getting started out. And with that said, I'll pitch to my friend. Go right ahead, and please, and I'll say this last thing too, because I'm one thing I forgot to mention is that you heard it from Joselle. Even with people who are membership driven, these are really committed folks. Oh, so yes. Joanne Massey, I mean, you heard it from Joselle. They're a membership organization. But if you catch Joselle Booker anywhere on the street, ask her anything, put her on the phone, you're going to get some answers out and hear from her expertise. So with that said, I pitch to my friend, Joanne Massey.
Right. Thank you, my friend, Bobby White.
Before you finish, let me say we're all friends. Okay? Go ahead.
Thank you, Councilwoman. That is definitely the reason why I'm enjoying my time here and so comfortable amongst all of my friends. But to Bobby's point, and I think I mentioned Epicenter earlier with the 800 initiative, we do partner with many organizations. But the great thing about the city of Memphis and and my friend Joselle, we like to make sure that we differentiate our organizations in this way, because MMBC is there to help businesses scale. You know, that tier 2, and I'm not speaking for Joselle, but I've heard her say this before, in offering that advanced service and her expertise. And with the city, we're that organization. If you have nothing but an idea and a dream, you come through our doors and we're going to help try to navigate you to the resources that are available. And guess what? For all the listeners, you don't have to be a grown-up to come to the city. We have our youngest entrepreneur. She's 12 years old, Beach Hill Lemonade. And we're so excited for Kenya Bean. She has expanded across the country. She's online. She's opening up stores in North Carolina. And she'll be one of our featured speakers at our symposium. So again, no matter how old you are, whether you're 8 years old or 80 years old, the city, if you have a business idea and you're starting, we're definitely the place to come for you, along with support from our other partners.
Proud to say she's a chamber member as well.
And
Yes.
her lemonade is delicious. The council had an opportunity before we had the pandemic to partake of the lemonade for a year. We really appreciate that. So, Mr. Jones, you have anything over on the county side you can offer our business owners so that we can close out for the afternoon?
Absolutely. So first, to all of our friends, I'll make sure I don't leave anybody out. To all of our friends that are on this panel, I would love that for this conversation to continue, because we just, appointed our new EOC administrator, Mr. Shep Wyvern, who has worked closely with each and every one of the panelists on today. And so I would love for this conversation to continue as he takes on that role. He was the Chief Diversity Officer, Supply Officer for county government, but you're going to get a wealth of information from him. He's a former county commissioner. He knows this business, and he has worked with each and every one of the panelists that is on here today. But I just simply want to let all of your listeners know that the county is moving forward. We are reinstituting our MWBE program. Is being done now. We're in the process. Hopefully we can get that back in play by the end of the year. I'm gonna keep my fingers crossed. I'm gonna pray hard on that because it is such a integral part of government when you have minority businesses that can participate. Because when I tell you, and you know this as well, we vote on multi-million-dollar contracts, and it's very, very difficult when you don't have minority participation in it that put out an equal parallel across the participation perspective when it comes to minority businesses. And so to you, Councilwoman Robinson, also as well, I'm not throwing out all of that, but it's that blue and white family. I just want to share that with you. And listen, as the chairman, I'm still looking forward to working with each and every one of you, continue to work with each and every one of you as we move forward. And I'm going to turn it back over to my Councilwoman Robinson.
Thank you, Chairman. So please put your information in our comment section so people will know how to contact you, and they may want to ask you some questions concerning EDGE as well. So this is the end of our time together. We have had an awesome evening, great information. I appreciate how each of you cooperated and brought some. To me, we got an overload of food, so we ought to be full tonight. And I hope that you will get a lot of contacts from this event so that we can move our community forward. I want each of you, starting with Joanne and ending, so this is how I see you on my screen, be Joanne, Joselle, then Bobby White, and then Ernest Strickland will close us out with just some closing remarks, some things that you may want to share now, something you may have forgotten, or some encouragement for our audience.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Thank you, Commissioner Jones. I just sent y'all a message, not on 0608 Day, but nevertheless, I'm right here to support you all. I want to say to the business owners, most importantly, Mayor Strickland has continued to show and demonstrate, put his resources where his words are in supporting small minority and women-owned businesses. We have been able to make huge strides, but the truth of the matter is, without the people on this call, on this panel, without you as the community, and as my friend Joselle said earlier, without the business owners, it's your choice to take advantage of these resources. And so the only thing that I ask you to do is to not be afraid, not be shy, not be hesitant to reach out to any of us on this panel to assist you. This is what we are here for. This is more than a job to me. This is a passion. And so, as I said earlier, we do mean business and we want to do business with you. Thank you.
So our next speaker is Joselle Booker.
Thank you again, Councilwoman, for inviting me and allowing MMBC to be a part of this discussion. The closing comment that I'll leave is to the business owners out there that if you are in the B2B space, which means you provide goods and services to other businesses, you are looking to grow your business, you're looking to expand, you're interested not only in opportunities locally, but regionally and across the country, then I'll leave you with this. Call 901-525-6512, 901-525-6512, and let us help you take your business to where you would like your business to be.
Mr. White.
Councilwoman Robinson, and again to Commissioner Jones, great to be on the line with so many people who are committed. I will just say this, that the Chamber is not a government-funded organization. It is a membership organization. But I feel that at this moment in our history, we're at a particular time where there's an interest in these things that are so impactful as it relates to minority-owned businesses, as it relates to small businesses. So I'm delighted that we are at a particular point where we look across the expanse of our community and we see wonderful partners and folks like the BBA and MMBC and Joanne's office and so many others, leaders in government and community organizations. So we look forward to continuing to be a strong partner. And the last thing I'll say is also this, just to the point Joanne made earlier, the fact that many of you are here, you're still around, that you're just a step away from that innovation. We're the city that still gave a miracle of overnight delivery and the innovation of the first grocery store to the world. So there's so much innovation and so much critical thought partnership and creativity that so many of you all bring. And so we just want to encourage you to keep staying the course, and we're here to support you.
Thank you. And our last speaker, but not least, let's bring on Ernest Strickland.
Thank you, Councilwoman Robinson, again for the invite. Thank you for your leadership in putting this town hall meeting together. It's very important to provide this level of access to the community so that we can activate some of these resources that have been shared and discussed. You mentioned earlier if we could have share a message to someone, a business owner or an entrepreneur who's thinking of starting a business. That message that I would share is oftentimes in Memphis, people start businesses based on necessity as opposed to based on opportunity. In many markets, 70% of the businesses that are started based on opportunity. But in Memphis, we found that it's because of necessity, meaning that your skills and your skill set is not appreciated to the point where you're compensated to the level that you know that you can demand. That's been traditional in this market. And so before you start a business out of necessity, I would say have a conversation with myself, our office, or Joanne, Joselle, because what you want to do is understand where the gaps are. Joselle's office, her organization, Joanne's organization, they have certifications, and oftentimes they cannot find businesses to perform, to provide a certain product or services. So instead of building a business where there are many players, many businesses that will have, your margins very small, look for the gaps and build your businesses in those gaps. That's where the dollars are. That's where the opportunities are. I'm more than happy to sit down and discuss business ideas to see if there's a propensity for that product or service that you're proposing to be successful in this market. Feel free to visit our website at dbamemphis.com. You can get more information and subscribe so that you can stay abreast to the different programs that we're rolling out. And again, thank you, Councilwoman, for allowing us to be a part of this. And together, let's make Memphis, that special place. Get off of the cusp and realize the greatness that we all desire.
And I want to thank each of you for joining us this evening. This is Council in Your Neighborhood. I am Patrice Robinson, representing District 3 on the Memphis City Council. The future of your business and how to successfully navigate your business after COVID is really important. We have covered many of those topics. Please contact our speakers on today. And I want to personally say thank you, Joselle. Thank you, Joanne. Thank you, Ernest. And I appreciate you, Bobby. And my friend, Chairman Jones, thank you for joining us to answer any questions that they may have had about Shelby County. Have a blessed week and call us when you need us. Good night.